We're back with our review of the Cerberus guitar from WestCreek. Welcome back to the mix, I'm ABD. Today we're doing part 2 of our review for the WestCreek Cerberus V-Type guitar, and we have it here in Amber Burst. And we have it already plugged in. If you didn't see part 2, you can find that right here. We briefly went over the specs and things about it, we unboxed it, but today we can get more specific. If you missed part 1, again, it has a mahogany body and a mahogany neck, according to WestCreek. It has a rosewood fretboard, and I think it might actually be rosewood. Sometimes they say that it's rosewood, and it's not, but I think it is in fact rosewood. The nut, they say is bone, but I don't think it is because it's black, and it looks like graphite. It looks like it is. It's cut okay. I think it might be cut a little low on the G and B strings. They're pretty low to the fretboard. The action is actually pretty good. 2 millimeters almost exactly. It could maybe be raised a little bit to give it just a little more action, a little more punch on the string attack, but for now it works well. The strings are pretty good quality, they're not terrible. I did do a setup on it. When the first part I said that it might not be intonated, and it wasn't, so I did intonate it. The E string, I'm having trouble intonating. I can't quite get the E string to intonate right, but the pickups, I adjusted the individual pull pieces to be the correct height, and they were a little low, so I brought them both up because they were both about 3 millimeters in distance, when I think usually 2 millimeters is better, especially for ceramic pickups. I think they are high output metal type pickups, so they are ceramic. And if we want to get a quick taste of what it sounds like clean, we have it into a simulated amp, and here's what we get. And it's already out of tune. I just tuned it up, so that brings me to one of the big negatives of the guitar. The tuners are very bad. They don't look very good, and they don't work very well, so those would have to be replaced. I just tuned it up, and they fell out of tune. The strings have stretched, everything is acclimated, but still it's going out of tune. So again, some clean tones, but this time actually in tune. Like you can tell that the E string is not intonated right because it's a little sharp, and I don't love that, and I can't seem to fix it. I could probably adjust the action by bringing it up a little bit, and then it can maybe fix the intonation, but for now I'm just going to leave it how it is. Almost perfectly intonated, except for the low E. Another thing I talked about in the first part is the input jack is right there on the side, which is not great for a V-type because usually you'll want to put it in between your legs, have your knee there, and putting the input jack there kind of sucks. Gibson likes to put it here. That's much better, I think, or on this side would be way better than here because it wouldn't interfere with your leg, so that's a negative. The quality of the actual bridge is good. Sometimes on these cheaper guitars, the individual saddles will rattle and not be solid, but these are solid. Looks good, kind of a matte finish. Tailpiece is okay, and the pickups sound okay. They're ceramic, they're not my favorite. They're definitely a little muddy. They're high output, they work pretty well for high gain. They work okay for clean stuff, definitely better for high gain, but if you can't tell, it's kind of a metal guitar, so it's definitely aiming at high gain stuff. So that's enough of the clean tones because that's probably not what you're getting this guitar for. Let's turn up the gain, shall we? And now with the gain up, you get a whole bunch of feedback. But that's okay. Here's what you get. definitely a little muddy and a lot of feedback. But they don't sound too bad. The intonation is definitely an issue. I would have to probably bring that bridge up to fix that because you could definitely hear it. To get some measurements here, we have a caliper. And for the actual thickness or wideness of the neck, we get at the nut 42 millimeters, and at the very top of the fretboard by the neck pickup, we get 57. So it's a pretty wide neck. It's definitely kind of a metal neck, pretty thin up here, and definitely gets a lot wider up by the top. And as far as the shape of the neck, we have a contour gauge. We can kind of take a look at it. It looks like and feels like a C-shaped neck, and it definitely is. Very Gibson or Fender. It's like a 60s slim taper neck if you were talking about Gibson. And if we go up to the 12th fret, we get a very similar C shape, but it's definitely wider, like we talked about. But a pretty standard C shape. Not too thick, actually pretty thin. And if you look there, like I said, more like a Gibson 60 style neck, but it feels good to play. The finish is nice. The actual kind of burst looks really good. It has a comfort cut or chamfer around the whole body to give it kind of a unique look. As I talked about in the first video, it has the pointy ends like a Jackson, not the rounded ends like a Gibson. It does not have any binding. It has a very tiny volute on the back of the headstock, and it has a Jackson style pointy headstock reverse with 2 points on. And on the back here, really nice contour for the neck joint. It goes right into the body, and it feels really great. And the strap buttons are actually nice quality too. So control plate here, very quickly we can open it up just to see what kind of pots are inside, and then we can get a couple more tones and wrap it up. So we do have plastic over this cover. If you're seeing it look kind of weird, it's because we didn't take the plastic off yet. But if we open it up and look inside, we have full-size pots. They look good. The wiring is actually pretty nice and clean as well, and the routing is very nice and clean. Bravo to them, full-size pots, but they do feel like full-size pots. So we can cover that back up and get a couple more tones and then wrap it up. Thank you for watching. Putting the screws back in, I noticed that it's kind of loose and really easy to get them in there. So I feel like the wood underneath is kind of stripped, like they went and screwed it in too many times or in and out maybe more than once and kind of stripped it. You can always fix that by putting like filler in there to like reseat the hole, but that's just something to take note of. So that was it. What did you think? That was a demo of the WestCreek Cerberus V-shaped guitar. I think overall for the money, it's pretty good stuff because it's so cheap. You could put new tuners on it, replace the pickups if you wanted to, and you're pretty much ready to go. You have full-size pots. The fretboard feels amazing. Obviously no sharp ends. It feels great because it has the ball end frets that are totally smooth. It feels like silk to move around the fretboard and play it. The actual fretboard has like a kind of nice finish to it, and it's really nice and sleek and slippery. Same thing with the frets. And the setup from the factory was not great. It definitely needed to be intonated. I'm still having some trouble intonating the low E. The nut was not cut very well. That might need to be replaced because it was cut too low. It's not like a nut that was cut not enough where you can always cut it more. This was cut too much already, so you might have to pop it out and replace it if you really so choose, or you can probably return it and get another one that probably has a better neck. But what did you think? Let me know in the comments down below if you got one already, or if you got one of the other guitars that they offer. I might have to get one of their other guitars because people seem interested in this one. So thank you for watching, and until next time, play guitar because it's metal, dude. Thanks again. To get some measurements, to get some measurements here, we have a caliper.